It's the one place in Las Vegas where sensitive species have found a safe and happy home. Teens learn eye-opening facts about water in the valley. We turn dirt into dessert, but we're not talking about mud pies. And there are many more stories at the Springs Preserve where all that matters is what's elemental. A frog and a fish, not the most glamorous of animals, nor are they the first animals you think of when you hear the words threatened species. But to Nevada biologists, these animals are not one, but two lucky finds. And now you can find them right here at the Springs Preserve.
Part of our mission here at Springs Preserve is all about environmental stewardship and public education. So it's really a good place to learn not only about wildlife that's native to southern Nevada, but then also learning more about all these threatened, endangered, and imperiled species that we have here in the area.
Species like the federally endangered Pahrump poolfish and the rare Relic leopard frog.
So the Relic leopard frog was once believed extinct, so that was kind of important to us to be able to expand its range. So it was found in Lake Mead National Park, but the problem is only in a few locations. So we're trying to create what we call refugia, or a refugium in this case, for a specific species, and that's a place of refuge basically. So the Pahrump poolfish were in Mance Spring out in Pahrump, and that spring went dry, decades ago. So luckily a bucket full of fish was saved, in the nick of time. So the idea is to establish at least 3 populations that have at least 500 fish.
Now, these specific species of fish and frogs may not have called the springs and streams that once flowed on property home, but very similar ones did, and in fact, that was our first indicator that we had all the necessary attributes to welcome the leopard frog and poolfish to their new habitat out in our natural area at Cottonwood Grove.
There used to be the Las Vegas dace, and the springs dried up sometime before 1962. So rewilding is taking a ecologically similar species and introducing it into the habitat so it has that same niche and that same role in the ecosystem. This particular species of Pahrump poolfish needed a home, so it's a perfect replacement for the one we lost. The same with the frog. The Vegas Valley leopard frog was native to this site and was believed to be extinct, so we're kind of rewilding for the species that's no longer in the state with the Relic leopard frog.
After securing the site so the future move-ins wouldn't be disturbed, biologists had to make sure other factors were ideal for the animals. That's not always easy when dealing with such small populations. Biologists started with the information they had, then, like all scientists, experimented.
So it's quite complicated because both species, there's not a lot of data on them. For instance, the Pahrump poolfish was from Mance Springs, from one single spring. So we know the temperature that spring was, we know approximately how many fish there were, but it's just one habitat. One of the things we did is we provided a variety of habitats, so we weren't sure exactly what they would prefer. So we have a shallow pond and a deep pond, that kind of a situation, so that we could see sort of where they do better.
All of these efforts take a team of dedicated and specially trained experts to help ensure the best possible outcome for the recovery of these special species.
The staff here at Springs Preserve, we're doing regular monitoring out of the habitat. We monitor wildlife here on site. And then in addition to that, we work with all the other stakeholders in these projects. So whether it's SNWA, Environmental Resources, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, NDOW. We do more formal surveys throughout the year too. And we're doing tracking population trends. So that way we can report back to those recovery groups and we make any adjustments if we feel they're needed.
We also have UNLV, so the university is actually, in the case of the frogs, raising up the little froglets. They collect the eggs in the wild or a portion of an egg mass, bring them into captivity, basically, hatch them out, grow them out, and then we either release, we've done both, release tadpoles, or we release sort of froglets right after they've transformed into frogs.
It's important to remember that the Springs Preserve is not a drop-off site for wildlife and/or unwanted pets. The unwanted introduction of wildlife species, especially potential invasive species, would be detrimental to our recovery efforts that we're working towards, efforts that are already showing positive signs of success.
In the Pahrump poolfish, we had a lot of adults when we established the population in 2018, and they were breeding within 3 weeks of being put in there. So they've been breeding all along. So successful reproduction is kind of our target. That's kind of our benchmark for success, is that, you know, a lot of people will interpret, well, are they happy? We don't really know if a fish or frog are happy, but if they're reproducing, that's some kind of, you know, justification that they're doing well. So. Another super exciting news event is that this year is our first year where the frogs have grown up and they actually called and reproduced. We never saw the egg mass, but there are somewhere between 600 to 1,000 tadpoles that were actually born and bred here on the site.
We're beyond excited to see this project come to fruition and only look forward to watching the habitat flourish and witness these sensitive species grow each and every day.
Especially for a biologist, to do something like this is pretty exciting. So, you know, we do a lot of cool things that are necessary and we work various projects, but this particular one's kind of that feel-good kind of really, you know, like both these species really need help. So anything we can do, you know, to help them survive is awesome.
They're big, they're bad, they're here. Our latest traveling exhibit, Dinosaurs Unearthed, features life-size, lifelike animatronic dinosaurs, full-scale skeletons, and fossils from around the world. Activate animatronic dinosaurs like the Triceratops and Stegosaurus and see them come alive at the Make Me Move stations. Play like a paleontologist for the day as you unearth and identify fossil replicas at the dig table. Check out nearly 24 fossils from the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods and much more. In fact, this exhibit is so large it couldn't be contained in the Origin Museum. As you explore a botanical garden, follow the sound of the roars to find dinosaurs that stand taller than you ever expected and feel their voices thunder through your bones. Then, in the Big Springs Theater, get up close and very personal with velociraptors, T-Rexes, and more at Jurassic World Blue, the virtual reality experience. You'll track alongside Blue, the intelligent velociraptor, as she battles the jungle's most threatening predators. Dinosaurs Unearthed stampedes across the Springs Preserve through September 3rd and is free for members or with paid Springs Preserve general admission. Water is the past, present, and future in southern Nevada. In the past, the natural springs allowed settlers to stop their wagon trains and build communities in the same area where the Springs Preserve now stands. Today, Las Vegans practice water conservation as part of their everyday lifestyles. And now we're preparing for our future by educating teens on important water issues they'll be facing in their lifetime.
YAC stands for Youth Advisory Council, and it's a group developed by the Southern Nevada Water Authority to involve kids or high school students in water issues in Southern Nevada. So they spend their school year learning about water issues, and then throughout the year they develop their own project, which they present to the board to try to bring in some fresh ideas and a youthful perspective on water issues.
These teens are just 3 members of the Youth Advisory Council. Throughout the year, members of YAC learn about water issues and develop their own project to promote awareness about these issues to their peers. And in the course of their time on the council, these teens learn some eye-opening facts about water here in the valley.
One thing that I didn't really know was that, you think water waste would be all inside, but mainly our water waste is stuff that we do outside. That's like sprinklers. So all the water we use inside gets recycled, but you wouldn't think that all of the problems that we have with water waste is from outside and landscaping.
One thing that I learned that I was able to share with my family and friends is that the Southern Nevada Water Authority pays you to take your grass out, and I thought that was really good because a lot of my neighbors have grass and I don't think any of them know that you get paid to take it out.
Some of the takeaways were definitely that we're so blessed to be able to just turn on a faucet and have water for us right there, and around the world many people don't have that, and I've become so much more grateful that we have that privilege, and just the fact that we have an impact on that, and we need to show our gratitude for that by taking action to preserve our own society and water here.
When it came time to selecting a host for the Yak program, the Springs Preserve and their education team was an instinctive choice for the Southern Nevada Water Authority.
Well, of course, the Springs Preserve history of being the original water source for Las Vegas is always a good place to start the Yak education. And then the facility itself, it's built for students. It's the perfect place for them to begin their experience with Yak. And the people who work here especially are used to working with students, and they're great role models. They're great at, answering any questions.
The action the council decided to take this year was to put on the Youth Water Summit, an expo designed to educate their peers on the workings of the Las Vegas water system. A general invitation was sent throughout the valley to all interested schools, and on the day of the summit, more than 400 students showed up at the Springs Preserve to hear what Yak had to say. But this expo was far from a series of dry lectures.
So we have a couple of activities led by my fellow Yak members. So one of them is an activity to demonstrate how water infrastructure works, and it's basically a giant activity where you have to carry water from one place to another, and it demonstrates that when you use infrastructure, it can never be completely efficient.
Other activities and presentations were developed in hopes of instilling the importance of sustainability, exploring water conservation practices, and explaining how the water infrastructure works, both locally and on a worldwide level.
These kids are going to be running everything in the future, so I think it's important for them to start learning now, especially, with things such as population growth and climate change. Water is going to be more important than ever in the future, so they need to be ready and prepared.
By empowering members to inform and influence their fellow peers on water issues, the Youth Advisory Council is more than just another student club. It's helping build future leaders out of today's local teens.
When I applied to the Youth Advisory Council, it was because I wanted to put myself out of my comfort zone, and that definitely did. And I learned more about conservation and my impact on my community, and it was a great experience, and I found more of a passion for just activism and what we can do as youth to make a change in the world, and that's definitely what the Youth Advisory Council has taught me this year.
The Youth Advisory Council starts recruiting in September. If you or a teen you know is interested in joining, the application is online at snwa.com. No faculty recommendation needed. 5 of the 7 continents contain major deserts, and while it may not be possible to visit each of these, the Springs Preserve has brought signature plants representing each of these 5 major deserts right here to our new Deserts of the World garden collection. Located just south of the gift shop, a walkway guides you to the 12-foot Argentinian saguaro standing sentinel to the garden's entrance. As with all Springs Preserve exhibits, there was careful thought and planning in the development and execution of this special area. A long cement wall, complemented by a variety of rainbow-colored sandstone boulders, provides the garden's hardscape and creates unique microclimates to benefit the needs of the diverse plants. And trees representative of these unique areas were planted here several years ago to give them time to mature and provide suitable conditions for their fellow succulents and cacti. But the main focus of the garden, of course, is the large cactus and succulents from different desert regions. These are beautiful and unique plants you won't find anywhere else on property. There are 5 main boulder outcroppings in the garden, and they are topped with some of the largest cactus and succulent species that can be grown in Las Vegas. Many of the cactus have spectacular flowers and were chosen for their striking variety of flower colors. The Deserts of the World collection is open during operating hours and is free with regular admission. For more information on this unique garden experience, see springspreserve.org. How do you turn 4 months on a calendar into a Las Vegas tradition? By participating in the Springs Preserve's fall event season. We know how to kick off the cooler months with special events jam-packed with food, fun, and music.
Springs Preserve is just an amazing place because of the atmosphere, the gardens, and everything that you get to walk through and explore. There's just so much to do at each event. You kind of got to take your time, and then you bring the kids back for the next event, or you come back and just see some of the exhibits as part of the general mission.
Community, celebration, and charity come together in this year's fall event lineup. It all starts with the autumn plant sale on September 14th. Grab a card and load up on new plants to refresh your landscape. Hundreds of native and desert-adapted plants will be there, along with our master gardeners who can answer any questions you may have. Come early to get your pick of the prickly pear. Then on September 28th, the Springs Preserve partners with Par for the Cure in our annual Grapes and Hops Festival.
My favorite part is probably grapes and hops. It was how I was introduced to the Springs Preserve myself. I came as a guest, and you're just wandering through the gardens and the rest of the preserve, and you're having some of those beer and wine tastings and trying some just amazing food, and you get to enjoy live entertainment, and you feel like you're donating to a really great cause at the same time.
This year's unlimited beer and wine samples are provided by Southern Glazer's Wine and Spirits, while premier restaurants will have their own gustatory delights on offer. Part of the proceeds go directly to funding breast cancer research, so come out and support a great cause. Family fun starts the last 3 weekends of October when our Haunted Harvest transforms the preserve into a spectacular wonderland. Dress up, explore our haunted maze, enjoy themed trick-or-treat stations, and much, much more in this festive favorite that even the littlest boo or ghoul in your family can enjoy. Immediately after Haunted Harvest comes Dia de Muertos, a traditional celebration of life. For the first weekend of November, the Springs Preserve will host live cultural music, vendors selling traditional gifts, and mouth-watering food beneath a canopy of eye-popping colors and decor. Come for the crafts and face painting. Stay for the altar competition. Over 30 will be showcased, decorated by local individuals and groups, with judging to be done by both the public and professionals. Finally, the Holiday Express arrives early in December. Buy your tickets in advance because this beloved tradition is chock full of memory-making opportunities, including falling snow, a train ride, special visits with Santa, and some great reindeer games. No wonder families around the valley have made the Springs Preserve a part of their holiday traditions.
As someone who plans these events, it's really incredible for me to see some of these families really embrace these events and take them into their own family and their traditions. Some of them have been going 10 plus years now, and they can't have a year without some of these events. They have to go to them, and their memories that they'll have forever, including their kids and themselves.
Our fall event season is a great time to get back outside, enjoy the weather, and stay active in the cooler months. And our VIP passes and memberships make it easy and affordable to come back again and again. To find out more about membership, events, and ticketing, visit springspreserve.org today. Get the help you need to make your landscape desert-friendly and your irrigation system more water-efficient with free classes taught by experts from the Southern Nevada Water Authority. Learn the skills to design and install a drip irrigation system, and you'll learn about landscape design, plants, and the key components to have a successful landscape. Reservations are required. Classes fill up quickly, so register early. Call 702-862-3760 for details. When people take a farm-to-table approach to food, they usually start by visiting farmers markets or picking produce from the organic section of their grocery store. But here at the Springs Preserve, a gardener and a chef are taking this concept to a whole new dimension in a deliciously fun program they've named Dirt to Dessert. Refreshing gazpacho, sweet lavender lemon zest cookies, fresh crunchy vegetables. Few people can imagine such delicacies coming out of the parched clime and searing heat of the Nevada desert. But in Cindy Dixon and Chef Deborah Costella's class, Dirt to Dessert, they're teaching local kids how to do just that.
We like the idea of starting from scratch, the dirt, and creating this whole process. It was like the A to the Z, so you start with the dirt and you end up with this wonderful dessert.
This 5-week class starts in the garden where kids are taught gardening basics like how to create healthy soil, the process of seed germination, recognizing and using beneficial insects, and harvesting techniques. But as you may know, getting edible plants to grow in the Mojave is anything but straightforward. So Cindy educates kids on more specialized topics such as creating yard-level microclimates, bringing together complementary plant communities, and planting according to the desert growing seasons.
We have 2 seasons, this cool season and warm season. Most people typically think of the fall, and that's when you can grow all those wonderful greens and lush, healthy foods. And when that happens, it's not that heat and stressful time of the year, so that's what makes those vegetables very sweet. They're not under stress. And then we have warm season crops too, or your melons, your chilies, your peppers, and things like that. You can plant those before the heat comes in.
Then the course moves to the kitchen, where Chef Deborah takes over, teaching safety, organization, recipe reading, and other culinary skills. Kids also take home a new willingness to try novel foods and flavors, a trait that will benefit them for the rest of their lives.
I piggybacked on Cindy's exploration of gardening with the children, and then from there we would take their harvest into the kitchen, and then we would prepare different foods, snacks, and they really got to see where the food came from and how to integrate it into something edible that they would enjoy, or at least be more willing to try.
The result is far more than just fun times creating tasty treats to share with friends and family. After attending Dirt to Dessert, children grow in their awareness of where their food really comes from, and their willingness to plan and participate in new activities, and in their confidence.
My personal goal is to get them excited about really cooking, not food assembly, walking away with a deeper understanding and excitement about cooking. I love it when I see an 8-year-old go into the kitchen, that I know that they know how to pull all the ingredients out, they walk away with that. It's confidence.
Well, I think the kids can be a part of the whole process, from choosing what crops they want to have, because they will have more of an ownership, playing in the soil and the dirt, building that up, then working out in the garden and harvesting, looking for insects and things like that. It's a whole family project that they can do from the design all the way to the harvesting part.
In short, the Dirt to Dessert program truly opens up the world of possibilities of what can be done in the desert.
I think it just helps us to learn how to be part of this place called the Mojave Desert, and how to thrive here in the desert and be healthy. We can be, I don't want to say self-sufficient, but we can really add and not have to just rely on outside things for our food.
Inspired to start your own edible garden? The Springs Preserve offers a host of gardening classes, including a natural garden design series several times a year. Visit springspreserve.org to find out more. Our enormously popular butterfly habitat will reopen in September as the cooler weather welcomes back these colorful creatures. Witness the fascinating dance between free-flying butterflies, the plants that sustain them, and their important role as pollinators in the ecosystem. You'll emerge with a better understanding of the environment needed for the survival of these spectacular animals. Admission is $2 for value members, $3 for non-members. Bronze and above members receive free admission. All guests ages 3 and up must be ticketed. Watch for the opening dates at springspreserve.org. With over 300 sunny days a year in Las Vegas, it's only natural that outdoor grilling would be very popular here. And naturally, the most popular items placed on those grills is meat. Chicken, fish, beef, you name it. But today, Chef Cicely wants to tempt you to stretch your imagination a bit with a sweet alternative by firing up some fruit.
It's time to get grilling here in the valley, and especially at the Springs Preserve. So to check out how well our grill is working, I've got a bunch of zucchini that I have sliced up, just tossed it in a little bit of oil, and I'm gonna spread it all over the grill. And the reason I'm spreading this all over the grill is to do what I call the hatch test. So those lovely grill marks that we get on our burgers, chicken, steak, vegetable kebabs, those are called hatch marks. And well, every grill has certain spots that are hotter than others, and so this little technique allows me to tell, as the chef working on it, which sections are the hot spots, which sections are gonna cook really quick, and which sections are gonna cook really slow. And that is very useful information, because some things I want to cook really fast, some things I want to cook really slow. And some things I might want to burn and other things I might not want to burn. There is all sorts of useful information that's happening as these zucchinis are cooking. I'm getting certain zucchinis that are starting to smoke. I've had a few little hot spots on a couple. That tells me where the grill likes to flare up, where the flame might be a little bit more intense. And after about 3 minutes or so, I can start to see when the bottom's getting cooked. So then, right around then, I'm gonna go ahead and just start flipping these over. And this is going to tell me where my hot spots are and also where my cold spots are. Oh wow, look at that. I've got a really hot spot right there. All right, here's my hatch test results. I know I've got a really hot spot right here. I've got a really hot spot right here. I've got almost no action going on over here. So I'm gonna get these zucchinis off. These absolutely can be eaten. Put into some other wonderful dish. Thank you for your service, zucchinis, telling me about my barbecue. And now that I know where the hottest sections of my grill are, I'm going to take advantage of that information with fruit. So I have fruit cut a variety of different ways. I have fruit cut into spears, I have fruit cut into cubes, and then I also have fruit cut into steaks. And then those little pieces that are cut into cubes, those went right onto a kebab. Those are smaller pieces, so I'm going to throw those on the medium heat section. And then those steaks, I want those on my nice high heat. And you can even skewer fruit all sorts of different ways. It's a great way to even get kids involved into the kitchen, because my favorite thing was always making kebabs. As you can tell, it still is. Throw those on the grill. And they don't take very long. And you'll also notice I didn't put any oil on them. The only one that would ever really require oil would be perhaps bananas. Something that, because they're so much a different kind of starch, something that allowed them to adhere. Go ahead and flip those over. Give that pineapple a little bit longer. My mango's looking good. And this can be done with any kind of fruit. This could also be done with stone fruit. I've grilled pears, I've grilled apples, I've grilled other stone fruit, peaches, apricots. Just depends on the season and what's available and what's looking delicious. All of this fruit grills for about maybe up to 4 to 5 minutes aside, depending on how hot your grill is. What we are looking for are those really nice hatch marks before we give it a rotation, and then we'll give it a flip. And here we have our fired fruit and also our veggies that help serve us in our test to help us tell us where the hot spots in the grill were. Now these don't have to be served just plain like this. They can be garnished with, say, a little bit of cinnamon, even cayenne if you want to kick it up a notch. You could also do a little bit of vanilla syrup drizzle. That happens to be a favorite of mine. Just a touch will do. The fruit's already sweet and it's been caramelized when it was on the grill. That's what those hatch marks are. Perhaps a little bit of whipped cream or even yogurt. Maple syrup's another fun add. Or just crumble up a little bit of brown sugar. Or none of that at all and just eat that delicious fresh fruit hot off the grill. Thanks for joining me. My name's Chef Cicely, and you can find me here at the Divine Cafe at the Springs Preserve. I'll hope to see you soon.
There's a lot more to discover, so join us next time here at the Springs Preserve, where protected species, teen conservation advocates, festivals of fall, and sweet treats off the grill mingle to bring new life to Las Vegas.